Hi everyone, and thank you for purchasing the Shop the Look Shopify section by qwiqode. In this video, I'll be showing you how to actually use it. So if you haven't installed it yet, please refer to the separate video included in the package, and you also have access to a PDF with instructions. So this is actually the second part of setting up your Shop the Look section. The first part in a separate video is how to actually set up the meta objects and meta fields associated with the pages and the templates that you want the section to appear. Now, ideally, this section is built. Well, this section is mainly built for pages like on the home page or on blog posts, for instance. You could, of course, add this to product pages. Is just many more meta objects that you have to set up, and so it becomes a little bit more of a tedious or complex job. But let's concentrate on blog posts. So say you have a blog post about a certain product or a certain set of products that you're writing about, and then you want to have this Shop the Look widget or section appear at the bottom of the post, making it easier for customers to see everything you were talking about and then navigate through and then go ahead and click. So let's see how we set that up after we already set up the meta objects in that separate video as mentioned. So you open up the theme editor, then you navigate to the page you want to add the section to. So in our example, let's go to the blog. This is the main blog page, and we can just go into a blog post. Ignore the design here. Here is basically where you would have the content of your post itself. And so once we're there, you click on Add Section, search for the section, click on Shop the Look, and it appears right over here. So we have, over on the left, we have an option to add products, and then over on the right, we have all the different settings for everything. So let's first start by adding a few of the products. Let's add 3. So we can add, let's just get those 3 right over there. We click on the first one, and then we would select product. So there are 2 options here. Like I mentioned, we can set up meta objects so that you could easily have different products for different blog posts or other pages. You do have the option, for instance, if you're putting this on the home page where there's only one page like that, it would always use the same products. You can immediately just go into here and select the product that you want to appear. But if this is on a blog post, you're going to want to have dynamic content. So you will want to check the use Metafields for dynamic content right over there. And so in that case, we select the product, we select this icon here, Connect Dynamic Source, and we have this Shop the Look meta object reference already set up. And then we would select product 1. Again, refer to the other video on how to set up the meta fields and the meta objects. So we have that connected, and then we have horizontal position and vertical position that we'll get to in a moment. Next, we go to the next product, we'll click that, product 2, and then product 3. Click that there, I click that there, okay. So we have those 3 here. Now let's go back to the main section, and then over on the right, we have a bunch of different settings. So let's just go one by one. We just added the product for now, but we'll go one by one on everything, and everything will be clear. So we have section title. So we have this title here. Shop the products. We can set up an HTML element. This is good for 2 reasons. You have H1 and H1 through H6. The first benefit of having an option to set this is for SEO, as search engines, for instance, like Google, they rank in hierarchy the importance of different sections of text on your site. So usually, for instance, an H1 is the most important tag, and it's recommended to use only one, and that's usually reserved for like a page title, or in this case, if it's a blog, then it would be the title of the blog, for instance, would be an H1. And then you could do H2. Usually, this is what we recommend for sections, to give it high importance as well. And the other benefit is that when you have a theme that already has preset definitions of styling for the different headings. So like, for instance, color or font size or bold or things like that. So if I change H3, you see it automatically changes the size, and then you don't have to go in and set specific settings below. But you do have that option. So let's just keep it at H2 for now. Section text, we can also add in, this is a introduction, oops, like that, or a longer paragraph or whatever. Inside of wrapper, I'll get to a little bit later, but basically you can have a background color, and then you can have the title appear above, like outside the background color or within it. Next, we select the image. So this is this main image that you want to have appear, and then have the dots signify what we're talking about. So we could select an image here, go over here, and let's select this one right here, like that. And we have an option also to set a different image for the mobile view. Sometimes you do want a different crop image or a different zoom, or something like that. So you can have that option. It's not necessary, it's just optional. Next, we have image dimensions. So you can put in the original dimensions and have it appear, or you could choose landscape, and then automatic cropping will occur. Portrait, like that, or square, like that. We'll just keep it at original, though the original is more or less square. You can also select to have the image on the left side or on the right side. Okay. Next, we have image styling. So we can add border radius to the image. So let's just put this at 30, for instance. Next, section styling, like I said, the background color. So let's put in a light gray color, maybe even a lighter color, so we could see the differences here. Next, section width. So section width, we have an option. We have three different options. Regular, which is usually we define the maximum width of the content itself with remaining content on your page. As you can see, usually, let's say you have a predefined section like that, in terms of the width. You can set the maximum width, so you can make this much smaller, as you can see, and the background color is being limited by this width that you're setting. You can also set to full width. So full width retains the width that we're setting here in max width of the content, but actually the background color extends to the edges of the browser. And the last option is if we select real full width, then essentially this entire section extends all the way to the edges of the browser as well. As you can see right now, it's not really touching. It's because we have padding set. But I assume that for the most part, we would do something like this, where it would be full width or regular width, but it depends on the site and the design that you want to achieve. Next, we have margins and padding for the section. So we have top margin, which is the space above and below. Or sorry, top margin is space above, so it's pushing more space above it. And then we can set also bottom margin. And as you can see, there's more space that is set right over there. And then we have padding, which is the space within the section. So if we add in more top padding, you see we get more space there, and then bottom, which is more space below. And horizontal padding, as I mentioned, is the space on the side. So usually you don't really see a difference unless it's much higher, or if you have real full width, like that, and then we can lower that to 0 even, and as you can see, the section is now touching the edges. We have the same margins and padding settings for mobile specifically as well. Next, we have section title styling, so we can adjust the colors and so on. So if we'd like the purple color for the title, we can align it however we'd like. We can choose a custom font. So you check mark here, and then you select any font that Shopify provides, or if you have a manually installed font, you can add the CSS code right in there. Next, you can select font weight. So if you want to have a thinner font, thicker font, it depends on the font that you actually have selected. I don't think we have loaded font weight here. So next we have margins, top and bottom margins for the title. So you can push that up, push this below, and that pushes the difference, the space between that and the introduction. Font size, if it's set at 0, it's taking the default from the theme. If you set it up bigger, then you can have your own custom size. Line height, which usually in the title's case, it's not really relevant because you won't have such a long title, but in case you do, you can set the line height and give it more spacing, and then you have also letter spacing, like so. And those same settings for mobile as well. And we have the same styling for the section text area. So for that area, so we could set that. We can make that black, and we can choose a custom font, for instance, and so on. Font weight, margin top. So if we want more space below because this is a little bit cramped, we can just add some more space right over there. And then set the font size, the line height, and the letter spacing here as well, and for mobile as well. Next, we have an option for autoplay. If we set autoplay, then it will loop through the 3 products set at the interval that we set. So if we put in 3, then you can see that they will loop through automatically, like that. I'll just keep this turned off so it doesn't bother us. Next, we have styling for the marker itself, which are these, which we haven't set up yet. So maybe it's a good time to do that. So to set up the locations of this, we go back to the products, and then we have here the horizontal and vertical positions. Now, as you can see right now, they're set to 50, which is 50%, but right now they're not appearing because it's pulling in information from the Metafield. So the way we set this up is as follows. We turn this off for right now, and as you can see now, the horizontal position of this first product is set to 50 and 50. So we can now set the positioning of it. So if this is, let's say, the anti-aging, we'll mark this on her cheek, let's say, like that. Now we have these 2 values, 45 and 35. Now, in order to get this to work with the Metafield, because again, we want different products, like different blog posts to have different values. So we can't just keep these values like this, because then on a different product, it's gonna always refer to this. So we mark these 2 down, 45 and 35. We go over to the meta object, and after you watch the first video, you'll understand that we have here in the list of meta objects, we get to there from content meta objects, we have the different meta, like information for the blog post that's been assigned. So actually this blog bundle for blog post has been assigned to Caring for Flowers blog post, and you can see that here, Metafields, Shop the Look definition, and we have bundle for blog posts, Shop the Look. So this has already been set up, and it's connected to that specific blog post. If we go to a different blog post, just as a side note, we go into Flowers in a Box, you could see we have a bundle number 2 assigned to it. So Caring for Your Flowers, we have this bundle blog post. Now, to edit and to add in those meta fields 45 and 35, we actually go into this meta object, and here we have all of the information that we already set up. But now we have the new positioning of the dots. So here we put in 45, 35, and we can save that. Now we go back to the theme editor, and we want to set up the positioning for mobile. So we would switch to mobile view, and right now we're using that same image, it's not changing. And let's put this to the cheek as well. Something like that, 46, 37. Let's go back here, 46, 37. And we save that. So now we have that selected. Now we just assign the meta field. So we click here. And as you can see, just to remind you, desktop XY1 and mobile XY1 for this first product number 1 that we've selected. So we have here product number 1. Then over in desktop XY, we click here. We do shop the look meta field, and then we do desktop XY1. And then over here, shop the look, mobile XY1. And then don't forget to click back this, and now you see it's saved here, and it's actually not using this. If I change this value, you see nothing happens because it's already reading from this meta field. Next, we can go to the next product, and we do the same thing. We uncheck, and we can put this, let's say, on her eye, so we can make this a little bit lower. Oh, I'm in mobile view. So if we're already in mobile view, we could just move this a little bit that way, and then put this on her eye, or right above her eye, for instance. Okay, 41, 21. Go back here, 41, 21. Go back here, switch back to desktop. And we actually already have that set pretty well. Let's move it a little bit more. There we go, 39, 21. (39, 21). Can save that. Back here and assign desktop XY2 and mobile XY2. Oops. This one can delete. There we go. And click that back. All right. And then we have the third product. Let's put this, well, this is also eye cream, but let's just put it on her nose for the example. Move this over there. And then vertical, make that lower. Like that. 59, 20. 59, 20. And then mobile view. 6120. $61,20. We can save that. And now we're done assigning. Just doing this here. Mobile XY3. Desktop XY3. Check that right over there. Mobile view. This should update. Sometimes it takes a second for Metafields to update. There we go. Okay, so now we have that all that set up. So when we click on the different dots, then the product actually changes. So let's go back now to the settings. So we have the auto loop that we discussed. Now marker styling. So you can have your own marker if you'd like. You could select an icon. I don't actually have an icon here ready, but you could select it and it would replace this dot. Or alternatively, you can set the colors. You can change the size of them. So they can be small, it could be large, medium, and then we can have the color. Let's say we'd like it to be purple, and then the active color, let's say, will be white. So we have like that, and it's also for the hover. You can see those change as well. Next, we have product image styling. So that's this image here. We can choose not to show the product image, or we can. Usually I would assume you'd want to. Content area styling. So this is the background of this. You could change the background. We can make it white, for instance. And here we can add border radius. I think we put 30 in for that. Let's make this a different color so we can see that better. There we go. Now you see that there's no border radius here right now. That's because they're touching and it would look strange. So we can add the gap and then we get the border radius. Otherwise, if we want them to be adjacent to one another, then it would be best just to remove the radius here and remove the product image as well. But since we're already here, we'll just put in 30 here. We'll put in 30 gap between the two. We can now we can set the alignment, and we have the same settings for mobile version as well. Next, show product title, so we can have the product title or not. HTML element, as I described before, we can set that to whatever you choose. Title color, let's just make it white. You can choose custom font weight, margins, so we can add a little bit more margins if we want. Bottom margin, let's make it a little bit lower. Font size, line height and letter spacing, and those same settings for the mobile view. Product price styling, so we have the product price here. So if you have variants and you have a variety of different prices, you can choose to show the from, or you can just hide it, or you can hide the price altogether if you'd like to do that. And of course you could change this to from to starting at or whatever you'd like. And we can change the color of the price as well, and custom font, as well as margins, font size, and letter spacing here as well. And for mobile, same settings go there too. Now compare at pricing is if your product is on sale. If you have a compare at price set for this product, you would actually have the original price with a strike through, and then you'd have the sale price. So you can adjust that strike through to be a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, and so on. So those are the settings for that. Button styling, so we have the main CTA here. So of course you don't have to have a button, but I assume you'd want to. You could have the button there. You could change the label of it. You could change the font size, or the font type, and the font weight. You can adjust the size of the button. So horizontal padding is a space within, and then vertical and horizontal like that. You can also make the border, you can make a thick border if you'd like, 1 or even 0, so no border. Let's keep that at 1 for right now. Border radius. And then we have margins, so we can add more margin to the top, to the bottom. Though it's not as important to have margin bottom because there's nothing that appears below it. So maybe we could just put it at 0 and it'll center much nicer. And we could set the font size and the letter spacing of the button as well. Same margins and font size letter spacing for mobile. And lastly, we have button colors. So we can set the color, the text color. So let's just make this white. Let's make the background white and the text color black. And then we can set the border color as well if we have a border. And we have the hover option here. So we can do, when hovering, the background will turn black, the text color turns white, and the border color is actually gone or transparent. But however you want that to appear. And that's it. We can take a look at mobile. Mobile, as you can see, it stacks the image above, but you can also add some space there. If we go back here, gap between product and image, so we can add the gap right over there. And that's it. Those are all the settings and the way to set things up. Again, just to mention, if you want to have this on the home page, you're not going to need to use Metafields because you're not going to have dynamic content because it's just on one page template, or on any page. If you want to have just one of these on an about page or something like that, where you're not going to be reusing it, or the content is using the template for different pages, then you can just uncheck this and then select a product not from a Metafield and use this positioning without assigning a Metafield to it. If you have any questions or any issues, please don't hesitate to reach out to us from the support page on our website. We'll be more than glad to help. And so thank you again, and we hope that the section helps achieve your website goals.